What if I told you that the war in Ukraine never had to happen? That millions of lives could have been spared, cities never destroyed, and families never torn apart, if only one decision had been made back in 2004. Imagine a world where Ukraine joined NATO 2 decades ago. What would it look like? What would it mean for Europe? For Russia? For the world? Let's dive into this alternate timeline and see how one move could have changed everything. In 2004, Ukraine stood at a historic crossroads. The Orange Revolution was awakening a nation. People were rising up for democracy and a future tied to the West. Countries like Romania and Bulgaria joined NATO that very year. Imagine if Ukraine had done the same. With enough political will and Western backing, it could have happened. And had it happened, NATO's eastern border would have dramatically shifted, placing Ukraine firmly within the alliance and creating a security wall from the Baltics to the Black Sea. With NATO troops on Ukrainian soil and Article 5 ready to be triggered at any sign of attack, Russia would think twice about any form of aggression. Crimea, still Ukrainian. The Russian Black Sea Fleet would either be gone or strictly limited under NATO conditions. The annexation attempt in 2014, impossible. Not without triggering war with the world's most powerful military alliance. Putin wouldn't dare. And the so-called separatist movements in Donbas, they wouldn't exist. NATO intelligence and Ukrainian modernization would make such operations impossible to hide or support. By 2010, Ukraine's military would be fully reformed, trained to NATO standards, better equipped, and far more confident. But it's not just defense. NATO membership would bring trust, investment, and stability. Billions in foreign capital, European infrastructure, gas blackmail from Russia, over. Ukraine would be part of an energy-secure NATO grid. Society would change too. More open borders, more Western education, fewer people leaving the country. A new generation would grow up seeing Ukraine as an equal part of Europe, not stuck between East and West, but firmly on the side of freedom. Of course, Russia wouldn't just sit and watch. There would be outrage, propaganda, cyber attacks, maybe even attempts to destabilize Ukraine from within. But the difference is, Ukraine wouldn't be alone. The West would respond immediately, united. Russia's tools of chaos would face walls of resistance. Without the chance to use force, the Kremlin's ambitions would shrink. The fear that haunted Ukraine for decades would fade. Instead of being a buffer zone, Ukraine would become a bastion of defense and democracy in Eastern Europe. In this reality, there would be no 2022 invasion, no mass graves, no shattered towns. Cities like Mariupol and Bakhmut would still be thriving. Instead of war zones, they could be tech hubs, NATO training centers, or hosts of international peace talks. Ukraine would stand tall, not just defending itself, but shaping the region. This alternate history is more than a dream. It's a warning. The past we live with now is just one version of what could have been. And maybe, just maybe, the choices we make next time will build the world we actually want to live in. No war, no destruction, just one different choice. If that idea gave you chills, subscribe and comment what moment in history you'd change next.